Sitaram, Namaste or Pranam, and greetings to my brothers, sisters, friends, family, special invitees, and all devotees. My name is Dashana, for those of you who do not know me, and tonight I have yet again the pleasure of welcoming you on behalf of Pandit Jageshwar Sharma, as well as the members of Maha, Lakshmi, Narayan, Mandir. This evening is the fifth night of our Bhagwat Yajna, and of course throughout the past few nights we've had the opportunity to listen to various pundits within our community as they give to us Bhagwat Katha. As always, if you are interested in giving your contributions, please make your way towards the Kirtan Mandali and we will try our best to accommodate you. With that said, we'll jump right into the next bhajan, and I will ask for Sarah to go ahead and provide that to us. Following her, I will ask if Crystal can cue up her bhajan to go right after. Thank you.
चलो रे मने श्री वृंदावन धाम वन धाम चलो रे मने श्री वृंदावन धाम रतेंगे वहाँ राधे 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 नाम मिलेंगे कुंज बिहारी और के कामर कारी कुंज बिहारी और के कामर कारी राधे राधे
much, Sarah, for that beautiful Krishna bhajan. As Crystal makes her way towards the harmonium, I will ask if Shaya can prepare the next bhajan to do for us, please. And I do see that Ryan is also preparing the tabla, so he will be accompanying her. Thank you.
यमुना के तीर, यमुना के तीर हो, यमुना के तीर, मुरलिया बाजी रे, यमुना के तीर, यमुना के तीर हो, यमुना के तीर, मुरलिया बाजी रे, यमुना के तीर, मुरलिया बाजी रे, यमुना के तीर।
Crystal for that beautiful kirtan, Muraliya Bajare. As Shai makes her way towards the harmonium, I would like to cue up next Marissa, if you can prepare your bhajan, and you can go ahead and go next. Of course, these lovely individuals that are about to sing are from the Ram Mandir. So Sitaram, my humblest of pranams, and thank you for joining us tonight.
मीठे रस से वरोरी रचरनी लागे रचरनी लागे माने खैरो खैरो यमुना जीरो माने लागे माने खैरो खैरो यमुना जीरो माने लागे मीठे रस से वरोरी रचरनी लागे रचरनी लागे माने खैरो खैरो यमुना जीरो पानी लागे माने खैरो खैरो यमुना जीरो पानी लागे यमुना मैया खाती खारी राजा गोरी गोरी वन रावण में धुआं चावे बरसाने की चोरी व्रज धाम राजा की रजधानी लागे रजधानी लागे माने खैरो खैरो यमुना जीरो पानी लागे माने खैरो खैरो यमुना जीरो पानी लागे कान्हाने चमोले में तेरे सुमिरे बारंबार कोचिन रूप जरे मन मोहन कहुना भावे पार तेरे रूप रंगी चमेली पचरानी लागे पचरानी लागे माने खैरो खैरो यमुना जीरो पानी लागे माने खैरो खैरो यमुना जीरो पानी लागे ना बाबे मन माखन मिसरी अब ना कोई मचार मारी जीवन यारा बाबे राजा नाम यार कस बानु कहेली तू गुण गानी लागे गुण जानी लागे माने खैरो खैरो यमुना जीरो पानी लागे माने खैरो खैरो यमुना जीरो पानी लागे रचय रचय नाम रचे जो न रच होया जिनकी वजह दूर कर रचे राजा राजा नाम रचय नाम में सफल जिंदगानी लागे जिंदगानी लागे माने खैरो खैरो यमुना जीरो पानी लागे माने खैरो खैरो यमुना जीरो पानी लागे मीठे रस से वरोरी रचरनी लागे रचरनी लागे माने खैरो खैरो
for that beautiful bhajan. Yes, it indeed does require a round of applause. Once again, it does show you that no matter your age, you can go ahead and sing the name of Bhagavan. As Marissa makes her way to the harmonium, accompanying her will be Pandit Gaurav on tabla, and on flute is Pandit Dhruv. So with that, please do take it away. beautifully done, Marissa. Indeed, that bhajan was splendid. Thank you very much for your contribution. As Rukmini makes her way, as Shivi makes her way towards. Okay, sorry about that. As Auntie Rukmini is about to do her contributions, and of course we have Shivi on harmonium, I will just give you the mic right away. Thank you.
Savariya मीठी मीठी बाजे मधुर तेरी बांसुरिया सावरिया मीठी मीठी बाजे मधुर तेरी बांसुरिया
Auntie Rukmini for that beautiful Krishna bhajan. As Shivi gets her bhajan prepared, I would like to cue up next Uncle Rudy for the next rendition. Thank you. And right before she goes and do that, sorry about that, just to let you know, right now we are prepared for Krishna Prasad. So if you do have Prasad, please do come up, and of course, Rishi will go ahead and help you with that. Thank you. Thank you very much, Shivi, for that beautiful bhajan. As Uncle Rudy makes his way towards the harmonium. Sorry about that. Rather, as Shivi plays for him. Right up next, I will ask if Marissa can just do us one more bhajan. Thank you very much.
Ram Krishna Hare Mukunda Murare
Ram Krishna Hare Mukunda Murari
Panduranga Panduranga Ram Krishna Hare
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 Jai Ram Sri Ram Jai Jai Ram
Jai Ram Shri Ram
Sri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram
Shri
Vittal Panduranga Ram Krishna Hare
Vittal Vittal Panduranga Ram Krishna Hare
Vittal Vittal Panduranga Ram Krishna Hare
Radhe Shyam Radhe Shyam
Radhe Shyam Radhe Shyam
Radhe Shyam Radhe Shyam
Radhe Shyam Radhe Shyam
Radha Madhav Radhe Shyam
Radha Madhav Radhe Shyam
Sita Ram
Sita Ram Sita Ram
Sita Ram
Sita Ram Sita Ram
Sita Vallabh Sita Ram
Sita Vallabh Sita Ram
Sita Vallabh Sita Ram
Sita Vallabh
Thank you very much, Uncle Rudy, for that beautiful bhajan to Hari, our Supreme Protector. Before handing the mic over to Guruji, I would like to commend our host and sponsor, Shrimad and Srimati Hanant and Nal Tulan, for providing us with bhajan and this opportunity to listen to the Mahima of Shri Krishna. These individuals are, of course, no stranger to us, as they have provided us a place to worship the feet of the divine and carry out our duties as Sanatani. At this time, I would like to kindly ask everyone to stand as we welcome tonight's Vyas.
Om Hari Om Swasti na Indro Vridashtava Swasti na Pusha Vishwaveda Swasti na Stariksho Arishtanime Swasti nam Brihaspatirradhatu Om Payang Pratavyam Paya Osha Disho Divyantarikshe Payurapang Swastinam Brihaspati Vishnu Ratamasi Vishnu Staptresu Vishnu Surasi Vishnu Drovamasi Vishnave Masi Vishnave Tagavaha Om Sahasrashirasham Vishvam Vishvam Deva Aksharam Vishvam Narayanagum Haram Shashvatagum Meshvatagum Narayanam Vishwame Vedam Purusha Deshwabhupajivate Om Narayanaya Vidamahi Vasudevaya Dhimai Tanno Vishnu Prachodayat Om Namastute Vyasa Vishala Buddhi Pulara Vindraya Tapatra Nitram Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purna Prajwalito Jnanamaya Pradipam Prajwalito Jnanamaya Pradipam Prem to Vyas Bhagavan Ki Jai. Kindly take your seat.
As Vyas Puja is being conducted and in anticipation of this evening's Vyas, Panditji Rupnap Sharma, who is the spiritual leader of the Mississauga Ram Mandir, will have Marissa once again do us a kirtan. Thank you.
मोहे चाकर समझनिहार चाकर समझनिहार चाकर समझनिहार कान्हा कान्हा आन परी में तेरे द्वार कान्हा कान्हा आन परी में तेरे द्वार मोहे चाकर परी में तेरे द्वार कान्हा कान्हा आन परी में तेरे द्वार मोहे छकर समझ निहार छकर समझ निहार छकर समझ निहार कान्हा कान्हा आन परी में तेरे द्वार कान्हा कान्हा आन परी में तेरे द्वार आन परी में तेरे द्वार
What a way to end the bhajan portion of tonight's yajna. Thank you very much, Marissa, once again, for that beautiful rendition. I would now like to ask everyone once again to please stand for opening arti. Thank you.
जय जय भागवतम जय 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 भागवतम भागवत भगवान की आरती पापियों को पाप से तारती जय भागवत भगवान की आरती से है तारनी।
कृष्ण कन्हैयालाल की जय। Everyone, please have your seats. सभी लोग आसन लीजिए. प्रेम से व्यास भगवान की जय. वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय. Our most revered Vyasji, Vyas Pandit Rupnath Sharma from the Ram Mandir, to Mataji, and to all the devotees of Ram Mandir, and our very own devotees of Maha Lakshmi Narayan Mandir, to our dear host Pitaji Hemant, our Gandharvas, Bahut Swagatam. Welcome to this 5th session of Bhagwat Katha. And on behalf of myself and devotees and servants of Maha Lakshmi Narayan Mandir, I welcome each and every one of you. We bow to you with prayam and pranam. Before I introduce our Vyasji to each and every one of you, Pandit Rupnathji is no stranger to us. But before I do that, I have the privilege in thanking Pitaji Hemant and Antinal and their wonderful family members of sponsoring tonight's Yajna, the 5th session of the 7 sessions of Bhagavad Yajna. And before I hand this over to our Vyasji, I want to ask Uncle Hemant, please come forward and give us his blessing, a few words. I know this is a very emotional moment for him. He and his wonderful siblings, they're sponsoring this Yajna. Antinal, please come with him. These are the souls who have provided us with the opportunity to worship and to have this place, this temple. And tonight we are humbly, on behalf of all the devotees of Maha Lakshmi Narayan Mandir, we say thank you for them providing us this opportunity to make this place into a temple. I have this privilege and honor in asking Uncle Hemant to give us his blessing and share his love with us.
Thank you very much, Panditji. It's my pleasure and honor to be here tonight amongst you. Thank you very much for coming. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome each and every one of you to this Mandir. This was such a blessing to be able to sponsor something like this and able to do this in such a short period of time. Yeah. In such a short period of time, within a 9 months period, we were able to get the Mandir set up and all ready to go. It's such a beautiful Mandir. Everybody did such a wonderful job. There are so much volunteers that really help in making this Mandir a success and make this place look so beautiful. I am extremely happy tonight, not because I know what the bhojan is going to be for later on, but because I have my 7 sisters here to help celebrate and worship in the honor of my dad, my late mom and dad. My parents had passed. We did a sponsorship in their honor, and I would like to really take this opportunity to thank you for come out and celebrate this special occasion with us. I just met Panditji. He seems very intelligent, and I'm looking forward to his gyan tonight. And thank you very much, and welcome everybody. Okay, I would like to take this opportunity as well to ask you to just indulge in just 1 minute of silence for my parents in their honor. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Panditji. Thank you much.
Thank you, Uncle Hemant, for your love and your blessing. Thank you so much for being part of this Maha Lakshmi Narayan Mandir family. And devotees, as we have all been waiting for this most precious moment to listen to Vyas after Vyas, night after night. And tonight we have the humble opportunity to host Pandit Rupnath Sharma from the Ram Mandir, a beacon in our community. Every one of us who are associated in this community know of Ram Mandir. And tonight, I humbly welcome Babaji, his entourage, and Mataji with us. Pandit Rupnath Sharma is no stranger to us, but because of his long years in our community, we have to glorify and we have to acknowledge an individual and a soul like him. He's been a spiritual leader of the Sri Ram Mandir, a practicing Pandit for many, many number of years, 40 plus years. And indeed, my dear devotees, he has come from a lineage of Pandits in Georgetown in Guyana. And from a very, very early age, he left Guyana, 1968, long before many of us would have born. And he traversed to the US and then migrated to Canada in 1970. And he have toiled and worked and served and been in so many organizations, too numerous to mention. But we do understand his talent and his hard work and dedication to our community. Prior to retirement, Pandit Sharma was employed in the corporate business world, vast of experience in the banking industry, 30 years plus, and in many aspects in the commerce industry, hold many senior positions with senior and replicable company, my dear devotees. Among all of that, he's a very humble soul and a stalwart and a leader in a community. Pandit Sharma is currently engaged in a senior position in the President of the Hindu Federation, the President of the Canadian Multi-Faith Federation, member of the Canadian Revenue Agency, the Technical Issues Working Group. He's the President of the Hindu Chaplain for Interfaith Chaplaincy. He's the founder and spiritual leader of Ram Mandir. And of course, dear devotees, he's a humble servant. He attained many awards and acclamations to his, but of course, Panditji is the recipient of the Queen Elizabeth Diamond Jubilee Medal. And tonight, we are humble, we are honored to have Panditji among us. My dear devotees, let me not keep you away from this learned, talented individual, a humble soul of our land, Guyana, that we are proud, and all the night throughout we have Vyasis who have walked that path, and we are humble. We are very thankful of you, Babaji, for your grace and your blessing. At this point in time, I hand this microphone over to our Vyasji. Prem Sura Vyas Bhagwan ki jai.
Om Sri Ganeshaya Namaha.
Om Shri Saraswati Namaha.
Om Sri Guru Charan Kamale Bhyo Deyam Sada Paribhavad Nanabhistadoham Tirtaspadam Shiviram Singatvam Sarinyam Vrityartaham Pranatapalabhivadipotam Vande Mahapurusite Charanarvindam Vande Mahapurusite Bansi Vibhushit Karam Navanirdhavat Pitam Bimbapalat Darostat Purnenda Sundara Mukada Vindanetra Krishna Param Kimapi Tattvamaham Najane Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudhyate Tato Jaya Mudhyate सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय
विष्णुपत्यानिवेतवे
तापत्रविनाशाय
श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः
जय जय श्री राधारमण जय जय नवल किशोर जय गोपी चित चोर
प्रभु जय जय माखन चोर जय जय माखन चोर
to bring our minds to the state where we are receptive to hearing the glories of God. It is always encouraged that we chant. By chanting Kirtanam, it brings our mind to, I need you to just up my microphone a little bit and balance the ones out here, they're too loud, all of these. It gives us the opportunity to bring our minds to focus. So please do chant. Jai Radhe Radhe Govind Govind Radhe
जय राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
Jai Radhe Radhe Govind Govind Radhe
जय राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
Govind Radhe Radhe Gopal Radhe
गोविंद राधे राधे गोपाल राधे
Govind Radhe Radhe Gopal Radhe
गोविंद राधे राधे गोपाल राधे
Radhe Radhe Govind Govind Radhe
जय राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
Govind Radhe Gopal Radhe
गोविंद राधे गोपाल राधे
Govind Radhe Radhe Gopal Radhe
गोविंद राधे राधे गोपाल राधे
Radhe Radhe Govind Radhe Everybody clap your hands.
राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे
As we clap our hands, we get engaged. We become part of the satsang. Engage yourself. Let your mind feel free and chant. Govind Radhe Gopal
गोविंद
spiritual leader of this Mandir, and to our Yajman, and to all of the hard-working members who've worked tirelessly to organize this yajna. My sincere compliments to all of you. It is indeed quite an undertaking to bring people together with a purpose to glorify and to connect with God. We get together many times for different reasons, socially and otherwise. But when we get together in these manner, it is always beneficial to all involved. No one loses at any time. I consider myself very privileged to be here tonight with all of you, and I've made new acquaintances. I've learned new things, and tonight hopefully we'll get to meet new faces and learn new stories about each other. I've discovered that the gentleman who spoke earlier is the sole sponsor of this facility. And let us compliment he and his family for such a generous offer. Give them a big hand, please. And the devotees who have been blessed to come here they have the leadership of a very, very capable, committed Pandit in their spiritual leader. So let us give him a big hand also. Listening to Bhagwat Katha or the Shrimad Bhagavatam has been prescribed to be the ultimate in staying connected to God. It doesn't mean that when we do puja we're not connected, or when we listen to Ramcharitmanas or Bhagavad Gita or the Devi Puran or the Shiv Puran, that we're not connected to God. But Ved Vyas, the one who is being given the title or the ownership of being the writer of all of the scriptures, said that when he wrote all the scriptures, he felt it was incomplete until he completed the Bhagavatam. Well, the Bhagavatam presented life in its full scope. From the worst scenarios to the best scenarios is in Bhagavatam. But there are key features of Bhagavatam that we need to understand so that we can follow the concept of what these lectures are intended to do. There are many themes and many questions that are asked during this Bhagavat. The story tells us that all the great souls got together in a sacred place called Naimisharan, a forest dwelling. Unlike people get together in the United Nations from all over the world, coming there with one objective, to solve the world's problems, these wise souls got together there for specifically that reason, to solve the world's problem. And while they were there, they learned Suji Maharaj, Sri Sukdev Ji, and the ones who were looked upon as the most knowledgeable were placed in a position to expound and to address the questions placed by the general public. And the general public placed some questions to them. Let me tell you what some of them were that were placed in and that are answered in this great scripture. What is the absolute ultimate good karma? Meaning, what is the absolute good thing that anyone can do? And before I start, I'm asking everyone that question here tonight. And please feel free to answer it in your own way. What do you think is absolutely the best or the most good thing that you can do, good act that you can do? Mother, father, children, brother, anybody answer that to me tonight? Should I pick on somebody or anyone who will be brave enough to answer that question? Say? Give the lady a big hand, please. But then to give is one thing, like my brother has given this facility. But to give without expectation. Let's add without expectation, because when you give, sometimes there's a little, what am I getting back? But to give without expectation could be, what else is there that could be considered to be one of the most honorable good things we can do? To give without expectation, what else? Bolo? Be kind to each other. Who said that, Rita? Give it a big hand, please. I know the voice. What other good things? Young people, come on and tell me, you know what's something good? What is the most wonderful good thing you think you can do, or you have done, to be exact? Don't tell me you didn't do anything good. Because you tell your parents you're doing all the good things all the time, right? Let me see, the two young ladies that are operating the video and audio system there. Look at me. One of you, tell me, what is the good thing that you've been doing, or you think is ultimate good in the world? They're consulting each other right now. Come on, talk to me. By the way, I want you to know I'm an interactive Pandit. I like to talk to people. Because if I'm talking and you're listening, I don't know if you're getting it. So talk to me. No good things recently? Teaching others. Give her a big hand. And our Baba has been doing a wonderful job of teaching the young people and teaching all of you. So let's compliment. That is a good act. Give him a big hand, please. So then we all have an understanding, but all of these good actions are only good if they're done without expectations. Teaching others without expectation, caring for others, giving to others without expectation. When it's given without expectation, we are bordering or we are building it profoundly on a founding principle of such a Sanatan Dharma, and this Bhagavatam called Vairagya, meaning detachment. Not to be attached to our good actions, but let the actions speak for themselves. But if we look for glories after our action, then we are not detached from the action. As such, we are not Vairagi. So, in the Shrimad Bhagavatam, there are three main qualities of human nature that have been discussed. In the opening Mahatyam of the Bhagavatam, it talks about there is a Katha with Narad Muni and three other entities. One is called Bhakti, one is called Jnana and Vairagya. They are presented in this form. Bhakti is presented as a beautiful young lady, adorned in beautiful white, and she has two sons. Their names are Jnana and Vairagya. Although she looks very youthful and young, the sons look like they're over the hill. And she presents this story to the world, and it is presented to the world to give us an understanding of how the world is that we live in today, where all of us have devotion, by the way. There's not a human being without devotion. We're all, if we do believe in God or not believe in God, we have some hope or belief that there is something above all things. As such, we have that devotion or bhakti. But the Jnana and Vairagya is what we talked about. Doing good without expectation. That requires knowledge. And it requires the ability to be detached, Vairagya. So the entire Bhagavatam talks about this principle of bhakti supported by Jnana and Vairagya. All of the characters we meet in some or the other expresses the negative aspect of it or the positive aspect of it. So the other questions were asked. Tell us about who are eager to listen to the stories of, and the adventures and activities of the Lord in various forms. Who likes to listen to Bhagwat Katha all the time? Come on, let's be very candid about this. You could be going to a party tonight, it's Sunday night. And you know, many people are invited, but they have a choice. Well, do I go to the wedding reception tonight or do I come to the Katha? So what brings people, what motivates people to come to these type of events? Because they were invited by the host, and the host, they're good friends, and if they don't turn up, they'll say, well, you know, they invited me, I didn't come. Do they turn up just to show their face? And like some people say, well, I'll show my face, you know, at least I was there. Or I hear the food is good also, that's what I'll go. Do we go to these places? For what reasons? Well, we are told, Bina satsang vivek nahi hoti hai. Without gathering in the places where there is people expounding upon the virtues of relationship with God, one cannot enrich one's relationship with God. Thus, these gatherings that we call satsang, Bina satsang vivek nahi hoti hai. Without gathering where we can exchange ideas and thoughts, we can never evolve and expand our paradigm of knowledge. Thus, we gather like this, and the question is being asked, what kind of people like to gather here? And the kind here doesn't mean Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, or black, brown, white, or yellow people. It means all human beings. What people of what nature, what personality makeup ends up in these places? If you ask the ladies in our Kirtan Mandiri, there's some people who really have nothing to do at home. So they hang out in the Mandir all the time. And they're accused of saying you don't have a life, you're only spending time in the Mandir. So that could be, oh, this, you're only in the Mandir all the time, you don't have a life. That is their life. They've chosen that life. Some people may choose it to go clubbing. I guess you people don't know what I'm talking about, right? Clubbing, right? Or going, some of you don't know. And then some people say, look, instead of coming here for 7 nights, I can go on a cruise. You know, 7 days in the Bahamas would be good. So we have a different mindset when we are committed. But can someone still go to the Bahamas, enjoy that, and still come and enjoy Katha? Yes. Well, life must not be only about the Bahamas and the joys and the essential pleasures of life, life must be an equal balance between the spirituality and the pleasing of the sensuality. The spirituality and pleasing of the sensuality, when it's balanced, then we are on solid ground. We're well grounded. So one more question was asked. Explain to us, dear Krishna, that since you came, your objective when you came here, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bhavarata. From time to time you'll come dharma stapana, to reinstall dharma. Now that you've come and you've reinstalled dharma, you're leaving. Who is going to protect this dharma that you've installed? Who do you think will protect this dharma? Bhagavatam explains the question, and Bhagavatam addresses the entire purpose of why we are born as human beings. There are two very, very prominent philosophies of how we relate to God. One could be considered what we call the Abrahamic faith, and then we have the Dharmic faith. There is this word that we use called religion. Religion has a Greek root. The root is religo, meaning to return. So those who are following religion are on a journey returning to God. On the other hand, in such a Sanatana Dharma, it is not a religion. It is a way of life. And we are not returning to God. We are on a journey with God in this life. There's quite a difference between the two. If I'm on a journey with God, that means God is always with me. It's not one day I decided to be religious and God is there. God has always been there. From the time we arrive into this world, we are granted charo phal, 4 fruits. God gives these fruits to all of us. They're called dharma, arth, kam, or moksha. Dharma is the ability to have religious merit. Artha, we have the ability to enjoy everything in this world. Kama, whatever sensual pleasures there is, it is available to us. And moksha, we are with God from the time we arrive. But if we are God from the time we arrive, then why is it that we seem to drift away, or it seems like we have no God in our lives? You see, there are people who live in the same house, eat from the same pot, at the same table, but do not talk to each other. Many of us have the same relationship with God. We know God exists. We know that He's there and everywhere, but yet we do not make any outreach to connect with that God. Let me use another example. Some of us know God in this way. How many of you know who the Prime Minister of this country, and please everybody, please do know who's the Prime Minister of this country? The young people, tell me who's the Prime Minister, please. What's his name? Justin Trudeau. Nice, handsome guy, isn't he? So, how many of you know him? Put your hands up. You know him? The young lady over there. Come, stand up. Let us stand up, come on. Do you know him? When was the last time you met him? You didn't meet him? You know him? She did digitally. Oh, that's good. Good. Hi, you met him digitally. Did you ever go to his office? Did you ever meet him personally and shook his hands? You know where he lives? You know his name. And you know he's the most powerful man in this country. Give her a big hand, please. Thank you. That is exactly the way many of us know God. We know God exists. We know He's powerful. We know He's here and there, everywhere, but we don't know Him because we've never had a relationship with God. And as such, we said, we know God. What do you know about God? Bhagavatam talks about knowing God. And this entire journey of life can be broken down into three main aspects. In Vedanta, they're called Nirodha. If the purpose of life is to, in journey, to go with God, then what are the obstructions? What prevents us from reaching and staying with God? I want to address that first tonight. And very simply, from a bhajan. So somebody tell me, what is our greatest obstruction to stay connected to God? The next door neighbor? What is our greatest obstruction? Young brahmacharis, talk to me. what is our greatest obstruction to stay connected to God? Give the boy a big hand, please. His answer was ourselves. We are our worst enemies. We are our worst enemy. But what aspect of ourselves makes us stay disconnected from God? What nature, what part of our persona? Someone tells me. Anybody? Yes? Our ego. Give her a big hand, please. So we are our worst enemy and our ego is the challenge. मत कर तू अभिमान रे बंदे ज्योति तेरी शान रे
मत कर तू अभिमान
मत
कर तू अभिमान रे बंदे झूठी तेरी शान रे मत कर तू अभिमान
माया का अंधकार निराला
माया का अंधकार निराला
बाहर उजला भीतर काला
बाहर उजला भीतर काला
इसके तू पहचान रे बंदे
मत कर तू अभिमान
मत कर तू अभिमान
रे बंदे झूठी तेरी शान रे मत कर तू अभिमान
मत करे तू अभिमान. Abhiman, for lack of a better word, relates to ego. Now we need to understand this ego entity. According to modern day psychology, to be particular Sigmund Freud, every human being operates on modes of persona. They operate on what is called the id mode, which is the animalistic mode, or the egotistical mode, which you all understand, and there is a mode called the superego. At any time of our lives, we're always operating at one or in between these modes. That's because we're human. Vedanta, our ancient rishis and munis thousands of years ago, recognized these tendencies and called them gunas. They're called tamogun, rajogun, or satogun. You have a rajasic tendency, tamasic tendency, or a sattvic tendencies. As the young man pointed out, or was pointed out, our ego and ourselves are the worst enemy. The poet is saying, mat kare tu abhiman, do not practice this ego in our lives. Jyoti teri shanare, it is a false state of existence. Then it goes on to tell us, Maya ka andakar nirala, bahar ujla bhitar kala. He said this ego, let's just live in a facade whereby on the outside we tell everybody, oh, things are going great, man, we're having a good time, everything is perfect. But inside, there is confusion, there is doubt, there is anxiety, there is stress, there is animosity. And he says, these are the modes of darkness. And he says, these darkness exist because of our ego. I don't want them, I don't like them, I will not talk to them, they don't like me, and so on and so on. All of these are the tendencies or the symptoms of our ego at great work. To overcome this ego is one of the greatest challenges in life. And here the question was asked of Nirodha, what is the greatest obstacle human being have to stay with God? Is our ego. Well then, what we need to do is take our ego out and give it a good trashing. But can you do that? How do we control and suppress our egos? Our katha tonight will be taken from the Shrimad Bhagwat Puran, and it is a story, a love story. But it's a love story between two men. It's not a gay story, by the way. No. It is a love story between Bhagavan Krishna and one of his devotees. And this love story will show us that this love was prevalent because there was no ego. Regardless of the status of the individual, there was no ego. Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namah. When Panditji made this asan, obviously he measured people who were over 6 feet tall. Because I'm sure all of you are struggling to see me as I'm struggling to see you. And then he did have a cushion here. It will give me about a 4 inches of height, but I have a problem with sitting on soft cushions. So thank you, but I will stretch to see that I'm over there. Now I have to make sure I can see these words from this distance that I'm at. See, sure. In all of the stories about Bhagavan Krishna, in all of the stories about Bhagavan Krishna, he relates to all of his devotees. He never brandished a weapon. What was his instrument? The flute. He enchanted everyone. And he was called the blue boy of Vrindavan. Not because he wore blue clothes, because his skin color was blue like the skies. And he was called the blue boy of Vrindavan. And last night I know my godson was here, Pandit Yudhishthir, and he talked about the initiation of Bhagavan Krishna, Bala Krishna, Krishna as a young boy. Today our Katha will talk about Krishna when he was in Gurukul and when he moved on from Gurukul. We are told that when Krishna was young, he went to Gurukul like every other child. And in the Gurukul, he had a very good friend. Does anybody know who this friend was that I'm talking about, alluding to? Sudama. And Krishna and Sudama went to school together. They did all the silly things that boys did together. They played games, they learned together. They cut wood for their guru. They stayed out and late at night. They did all the things young people did. And then while they were together, there was an incident that occurred. One that is not talked about by Krishna or by Sudama, but it was in their minds. On one very, very weekend, the Guru asked them, Sandeepan said, look, boys, as part of your duty to maintain your upkeep, you have to contribute something, so we want you to go and collect wood in the forest that's fallen, bringing for the fire that we will keep. And they left in the morning early, and before they departed, Sudama kind of took a side exit through the kitchen area. And Sudama put his hands in a jar where there was dry, raw chana, and he picked up a handful and put it in his pocket. He didn't tell Krishna about it. It was just, I'm going, I'll take up some chana. And they went off that day into the forest. They collected wood, and then the weather changed. And a storm came and became so dark and rainy, they could not return home. So they found shelter on a large tree, and they stayed together all night. But during the night, they were hungry. Both of them, they didn't have anything to eat for all day. And Sudama, remember, he had this chana in his pocket. And so he took it out and started crunching. And by the way, it's dried chana. You know, if you're crunching it, it will make a noise. And Krishna said, Sudama, are you eating something? And he responded, no, it's my teeth that's chattering. Life went on. Krishna and Sudama got home the next day. Life went on. They graduated from Gurukul. They went off and both of them got married. Krishna had a wonderful time. He's a king. And Sudama went off to being a Brahmin priest and living a life. Well, we join Sudama now in his life with a family man. He has a wife and children, but things are really, really bad. Let's join him and understand what occurs. पतिव्रता पतिं प्राह बलायता वेदनेत सा दरिंदम सिदमाना वे वेपमाना विगम यच वेपमाना विगम यच श्री कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः बोलो श्री कृष्णाय
वासुदेवाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः.
Sudama's wife, having a very quiet, social husband and wife discussion about the seriousness of life, she says, look, things are so bad. We cannot get any food. You cannot get any work. But you have someone who can help you. Your friend, Krishna, he's royalty. Why don't you go to him and ask him? Now, Sudama was like most husbands and like most wives, had this discussion many times. And every time the discussion came up, he kind of sidetracked the issue and said, we'll make out, don't worry about it. Of course, things were so bad, saying we'll make out was not good enough. And his wife insisted. Not because she was an insistent wife, because it was necessary to insist. So why was Sudama hesitant? Remember I talked to you earlier and I said, friendship between two men, Sudama considered Krishna not royalty, but a friend. And Sudama was of this philosophy that I do not go to my friend because I want something, or I don't have a friend because I feel they can give me something. I have a friend because I have a friend. Now, when we measure friendship in the world today, what are the measurement yardstick that we use for friendship? Well, how do I know you're my friend? Well, what did you give me for my birthday the other day? That doesn't show you're a friend of mine. Or were you there when I needed you? So we set these parameters for what makes us a friend. But the question is, it says, love lies in the eyes of the beholder. Friendship also lies in the eyes of the beholder. I could say to you that I'm your friend, but you could say, I don't want to be your friend. But in my mind, a mother will tell a child, I love you, child. I don't love you, mom. Mother says, I still love you. Because the love is coming from the person projecting it, not the person it's been sent to. And as such, Krishna always thought that he would be against his moral values to go to Krishna just because he wanted something. But deep down in his heart, he needed an excuse to visit Krishna. But he was caught up between, when I go there, it'll be looking like I'm coming for something. You know, many of us don't go because they will think I want something, that's why I came. Anybody had that feeling recently? Oh, they think I want something, that's why I'm here. No. You see, God doesn't think that we want something, that's why we're going there. He knows what we want. He doesn't have to think about it. We all go to God when we want something. One writer said in the Bhagwat Katha that there are 4 types of people who approach God, and we'll call them devotees. And it's in chapter 12, and I think we know this very well. He said these people, Chaturvidha vajante mam, not chapter 12, I'm sorry. Chaturvidha vajante mam janah sukritino arjuna arto jigyasu artarti jnani cha bharasava. He says there are 4 types of people who pray to me, Bhagavan says. And as I enumerate these people and give a description of them, identify which category you belong to. Do not put up your hands or smile, because I will know. So, he says there is the arto. He said this type of people, all of their lives they want, and they will pray to God. They'll be sincere, they will do all the puja, the graha puja, the devi puja, everything, but only one objective, I want. And he says, these people love me, and I give them what they want because they're sincere in their prayers. Anybody identify with that? Don't put your hands up yet. Then there is the jigyasu. He said, these people, they, whenever there's going for writing an exam, they pray to God that morning. If they're going to go for immigration, they pray to God. If they're going to go to hospital, they pray to God. Other than that, they don't know God. They are conveniently related to God. So that's the second category. The third category, artarti. He says, these people, they call God's name constantly. Bhagwan, oh Bhagwan, God, do this. So that's the first 3 categories. I hope nobody belongs to any of them. Because here's the fourth category, Jnani. The Jnani gets up in the morning and says, Tvameva Mata. Bolo.
Pitai Tvameva,
Tvameva
Bandhu Sasaka Tvameva, Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva, Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva, Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva.
The Jnani gets up in the morning and says, God, you're my mother, you're my father, you're my brother, you're my sister, you're my friend, you're my everything. And the Jnani asks this question, God, if you're all of these things, how come I don't know you? And the Divine Lord says, the first three, they like to use me. He said, this one loves me. Are we devotees who like to use God? Or do we just project love to God? Sudama was of the sure mind that I should not use God. I should not go to God because I want something. I should go to God because He is something to me. So when we pray and we do our pujas, many of us say, Panditji, I'm doing this puja because of... And now doing pujas in the name of, in memory of, is one thing. But doing puja for a bardhan, for a gift, and because I want this to happen, that is, I'm bartering with God. But some people even say, Bhagwan, if I get this, I'll do puja. So you're making a deal, So if you don't get it, no puja. As such, Sudama did not want to do any of these arrangements. And as such, his wife continued to, as they say, pester him. And then he succumbed. So the poet tells us, Sudama, having listened to his wife, continue to hold the notes, please. Nanu Brahmana Bhagwat Saka Sakshat Chitya Pati Brahmanyasya Sharasyasya Bhagwan Satvat Varshabha Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namah Sri Krishna
Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namaha.
His wife said to him, not only is your friend so rich, his wife is the goddess of prosperity. She is the giver of all wealth and possessions. Why don't you go and ask them? Sudama is having nightmares with the pressure from his wife and his conscience bothering him. Should I or should I not go? All of us at some times in our lives have these conscience debate where we are dealing with our conscience. Is it the right thing to do? I know I need this, but is this the right approach? Sometimes the approach is the key factor in how we're going about getting things. Not what we want, but how we go about getting it. Sometimes I say, I know I can give you what you want, but it's the way you're asking about it, that's why I don't want to give it to you. So the approach. So this approach is built upon our emotional status. And that is where the ego factor comes in. If we approach with ego and an id approach rather than a sattvic approach, two different things. Someone will come and ask you for something and you say no, and then another person comes along and you said yes. And the person who didn't get said, how come he gave you and he didn't give to me? He likes you more than he likes me. Is it that? Or it could be, maybe the approach they took and the approach you took. So Sudama wanted to have the right approach to visit Bhagavan Krishna. So he was reminded by his wife, by the way, you can't go wrong if you go to their house. They're wealthy all around. Husband is wealthy, wife is wealthy, and everybody's got everything. So go. That sounds familiar? So go get it done, the wife says to the husband. I see the husband and wife are kind of looking at each other right now. Yeah. Sri
Krishnaya वासुदेवाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः
दमूपैः महाभाग्यं साधूनां च परायणं दार्श्यति दनमितं भूरि सिद्ध्यते ते कुतं वने सिद्ध्यते ते कुतं वने श्रीकृष्णाय
वासुदेवाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः.
She said, "Oh, my husband, you're so fortunate to have such a friend. And he's known to be the one who gives shelter to the entire world." She's now relating to Bhagwan Krishna as his supreme personality. He gives shelter to everyone. Why would he not give to you, his dear friend? Now, let us pause and understand that God gives shelter to everyone. Bhagwan Krishna is the incarnate of which aspect of the Trimurti? The Trinity or the Trimurti is the creative force, the sustaining force, and the redeeming force that we call Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Which of these is the avatar, the Krishna avatar from? Bolo? Say it loudly. What is it? Vishnu Bhagwan. And why is it not Lord Shiva? Why is it not Brahma? Because Vishnu is the sustaining force, meaning that we as human beings need sustenance. You know, when Baba does puja, there is Kalash puja prepared. And we all have been involved in this puja. And let's digress a bit to talk about this Kalash puja and Vishnu Bhagwan. There is no puja that is done without a Kalash Stapan. And the Kalash Stapan is done first by touching the earth. Om Bhurasi, Bhumirasi, and so on and so on. The mantra is saying, "O earth, please be fertile, for in your fertility lies my sustenance." And then on top of that earth, we'll put dhani. You know dhanya? Anybody know what that is? That's the seed, rice with the kernel, paddy. It's a seed. We place it on earth, and then on top of that, we place the kalash with water. When you have water and earth and seeds, what happens? The seeds will germinate. And when the seeds germinate, we will get green leaves, right? And what does green leaves do for us, by the way? Say it. Yeah. Provides oxygen through the process of photosynthesis. So the green, give her a big hand, please. So, the seeds are germinated by the earth and the interaction of the water. The green leaves come and the process of photosynthesis and we get oxygen. That is one of the reasons we call the earth Mother Earth. Because she's the source of the essence of life, oxygen. So in this Kalash Puja, we go through this process. And then in the container, by the way, the Kalash is not straight like a glass. It's not like this glass, by the way. It has a neck, a belly, and a mouth. The mantra which says, Kalas Asyam Mukhe Vishnu. The mouth represents Vishnu. Kante Rudra Samastita. The neck represents Lord Shiva. Mulata Shaishato Brahma. The belly represents Brahma, the creative force. So in this Kalash, there's a representation of the creative force, the sustaining force, and the redeeming force. You and I are created, we are sustained, and we are nurtured. While we live, this process of creation, existence, and dissolution occurs while we are still alive. Blood cells are being born, existing, and die constantly in our bodies. So the process of this is constantly, Kalash Devata is constantly activated. And then in the Kalash we place water. What is the proportion of water of the human body makeup? It is the largest proportion. So we have more water than anything else. So then there's earth, 8. Now on top of the Kalash, there is usually 5 leaves. Not 6, not 7, but 5. They represent earth, water, air, space, and heat, which we require to survive and to sustain. So in the installation of Kalash, We are saying that we are installing the basic things to sustain life. And that is why we call it Kalash Astapana, meaning permanently. So then we chant the mantras and then we invoke Lakshmi Mata. But also there is a coconut involved in the Kalash. The coconut, by the way, modern science is discovering, is one of the most nutritious food there is. The coconut, by the way, that we put on there is a seed. If you plant it, it will grow. It has pure, uncontaminated nutritional water. The trunk and the branches of the trees are used to make homes. The bark are used to cover the body in ancient time. If you have a coconut tree, you could survive. Thus, this Kalash is the symbolism of Bhagwan Vishnu. And his concert, where the Diya is Lakshmi, Bhagwan Vishnu and Lakshmi are always together, representing the purity of Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, and sustenance, Bhagwan Vishnu. So whenever the Lord comes, he always has a concert. By the way, another important factor about such a Sanatan Dharma, all of our male deities have a female counterpart. We see females as equally divine as men, and to be exact, we give them a higher status than men. We usually say, call their name first. So men, ladies and gentlemen, don't introduce that this is Mr. and Mrs. Say this is Mr. and Mrs. This is Mrs. and Mr. The ladies go first. Krishna Kanaya Lal Ki. Thus, the Kalash represents Bhagwan Vishnu, and Bhagwan Vishnu took avatar as Lord Krishna, and he came to bring comfort and sustain the people of the world. Sudama needed basic sustenance. Who else would he go to but Bhagwan Vishnu? So we do not see it, and when we hear the Katha, we don't think of this sustenance factor. But Sudama needs sustenance, and that's why I'm saying he's a sustainer, not to go to him with gold coins. No, 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 no. Sudama was described as someone who's impoverished, having no food to eat. And he says the only one who can ensure food in our lives is the divine Lord Vishnu, the sustaining force of God. So go to him. Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya.
Namo Namah.
One more time, please.
Shri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namah.
Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Govindaya Namo Namah.
While the dialogue between Sudama and his wife continues, Sudama, of course, is contemplating, how should I approach my friend? What words should I use when I go to him? Astate duna duturatyam bojabrishan keshaval swata padya kamal matam annapi yakshati. Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Govindaya Namo Namah.
Sudama is saying that this Lord of mine, he is known by the world to be one who will give of his own self to anyone. Like they will say today, he will give the shirt off his back for anybody. Sudama recognizes that Krishna is this kind of person. But again, what is Sudama's problem? Tell me, what is his problem again? Bolo? He doesn't want to go asking for something. He wants to go renewing his friendship. It's been a long time. And by the way, Sudama has something to be guilty about. That guilt is burdening him a long time. And he, with that guilt in his mind, he says, you mean I will go now and ask for something? After when I had something to give, I didn't give? So sometimes our guilt burdens us. And we move about life so long with this guilt. And nobody, why is it you don't do this? Oh, I can't talk about it. It's okay, let's not discuss. But there is that hidden guilt. You know, there's a bhajan that we sing that talks about maybe guilt. Some of us may know this bhajan. It goes something like this. Pinjare ke panjire
Tera dardn jari ho, tera अंजलि
चुपके चुपके रोने वाले रखना छिपा के दिल की चाले
चुपके चुपके रोने वाले रखना छिपा के दिल के छाले
ये पत्थर का देश पगले कोई न तेरा हो
तेरा दर्द न जाने हो तेरा दर्द न जाने हो
Our state of emotion sometimes becomes shackles or cages that we live in. Our state of mind creates a border. It draws lines of how people will approach us. Because of the way we are, hold on a minute, be careful, you're going to, you know who they are, right? You can't, or you know. So you have to be cautious of how you approach people because not everyone is approachable. This bhajan is talking about Pinjare ke panchire is that when the bird leaves the cage, it flies, it will never return. But it now talks about when we, you relate you and I, that we are like birds in a cage. Chupke, rone wale, quietly, quietly, we cry. Inside, not outside. Rakhna chipake, dil ke chale re, hiding the bruise in our heart. When there is ego, we know we are wrong, but we're not going to say sorry, and we are grieving inside, but we will not overcome our ego and say, oh, maybe I should say I'm sorry. But no, I'm not going to say. And deep down, we want to be friends, we want to talk, we want to get along, and we're not doing it. We are in shackles. We are handcuffed by our own emotions. Here, Sudama is handcuffed by his own emotions and his own guilt. And the border, the line of what is friendship? What should it mean? How should I relate in friends? Do I only go to them when I need? You know, many of us said, you know, I have this friend, he has good contact at Costco, so that's why we are friends, because we get discounts. And then some people want theater tickets, call this one because they're my contact. So we don't have friends, we just have network of contacts. And we use the networks as it suits us. In essence, we use the people as it suits us. There's no friends. There's no friendship relationship. We need to rise above that. The Krishna Bhagavatam is telling us, rise above this. Let not these things be our prevention to relate to God, because we relate to God through our relations to human beings. If we have no relationship with humanity, we cannot claim relationship with God. We are serving God through service to humanity. We do all of these pujas and one of these things. All of the prasad we offer. Have you ever seen Ganesh eating one of these laddus? Or Krishna taking of the apple? But we offer them Krishna Arpanam, and then we consume it. It's all done for us. So when you're giving it, if there's someone in this mandir you don't like, and you offer prasad, let it be known that that person might get the prasad. Although you said, don't give them my prasad. Because it's been offered to God. Because when it's offered to God, it's open to everyone. Krishna Kanayalal ki. So Rama now, his wife, continuous imposition upon him to take action. Son Ved Vyas tells us what happened next. सातनाधाय विप्रग्रह प्रययो द्वारिकं किला कृष्णाशदर्शनं महां कथां स्वाधीनि चिन्तन्य श्री Krishnaya Vasudevaya. Krishnaya Vasudevaya. So Rama is convinced that he must go now. Then he has a discussion with his wife, like, I'm going to my friends. Shouldn't I take something? And of course, we don't have anything. What are we going to take? We don't even have anything to eat. But she's being a very, very industrious person. She went outside and she appealed to the neighbors who gave her a handful of flat rice. And she brought it home and says, look, take this to your friend. Sudama thought for a moment and says, it's the best we have. I shall take it. And Sudama took it, tied it in his jori, the little cloth knot, dropped it over his shoulder, and with his best clothing, the same one he has worn for the last 6 months, he embarked on his journey. The journey to meet the Lord in Dwarika. Trini gulamayati kaschayasya siddhaye Vipro gamanka brishninam Gyavashe tarlaminam Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Govindaya Namo Namah Grihayam dabhyasta sadhanam Mahashinam Mare Dvija Viveshay Katam Shrimad Brahmanandam Gato Yata Brahmanandam Gato Yata Sri Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Govindaya Namo Namah.
So Rama in his journey came in company with others who were journeying towards Dwaraka. And when he entered in the city of Dwaraka, we are told specifically that he had to pass through 3 guard stations and then 3 gateways. 3 guard stations? You mean Krishna is afraid of somebody? 3 guard stations and 3 gateways. What do you think are the 3 guard stations and 3 gateways that the sage is referring to in this reference? Is it 3 physical gateways? Or maybe there might be 3 physical gateways. You know, in Hanuman Chalisa we say, Ram Dware tu rakvare hotine agya bin paisare. Ram Dware, your doorway of Rama, tu rakvare. We say Hanumanji is the protector of the doorway to Prabhu Ram. Does Prabhu Ram, is Rama afraid of someone? That he needs Hanuman to stand at the doorway? What does Hanuman represent standing at the doorway? Does he stand at the doorway? No. Hanuman represents the doorway to Rama. His karma, his action represents. Good karma is the doorway to God. Hanumanji represents Ram Dware tu rakva. You're not protecting, you're opening the doorway by your karma, by your actions. Here, Sudama has to pass through 3 doorways, are the 3 modes of persona. He has to overcome them. He was having an internal conflict of conscience. Should I go? Shouldn't I go? What did I do? What didn't I do? And then before he could go, he must go with a clear conscience. Id, ego and superego out the door. When you are going to God, all must be removed. And then 3 guards and 3 gates. You know, when we do our prayers, we say, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Did you ever remember we say it 3 times? Why don't we just say it 1 time? It just says peace. Why are we saying, let there be peace, let there be peace, and let there be peace? 3 times. We have to have a clear conscience. When we have come down, there must be Shanti in my sattvic stage. By the way, intelligent people get angry also and have emotions. Egotistical people get more angry and have more emotions. Animalistic people, they have more anger and more. So all stages need to be at peace, at peace, at peace. So Sudama went through that screening, if you want to call it, the screening of cleansing the emotions, bringing the ego and the id and the superego to a calm state, making sure there's shanti in my mind, then I approach God. Then I approach God. And whether he did it physically or mentally, but it is the way to approach God. And we must never go with God to ask for anything. Let's digress for a minute. I'm sure all of us pray from time to time. And if this relates to any one of you, please don't feel in any way that I'm throwing any stones at you. Some of us pray, God, make sure, tomorrow that, I get that raise. Or God, I have cancer. Or God, my spouse. God, my children, please, can you take them back? What are we treating God like? When I made the reference to God earlier that there are 4 types of people, that those who call upon God, is God your servant or is he your master? Do you ask your master to do everything? So we cannot say we are praying to God when we are telling him things that he knows already. God, I have cancer? Yeah, sure, I don't know that. Just imagine if you're sitting there thinking, come on, tell me something I don't know. Now, one other thing I want to clear up, and this is the personal opinion, and it's been I guess, argued by great people in the world, and I'm taking not a side, but an honest opinion. Do you think God punishes people? Young ladies again on the video there, what do you think? I don't have anybody else to pick on, so I'll pick on the two of you. So do you think God punishes people? No? He doesn't? He puts obstacles in our way that we can keep on the right track. Okay, give her a big hand for that. But remember, keeping on the right track, I want to come back to you. Let it be known that God does not have a punishment department, and I have this from high authority, okay? He does have a department. It's called the giving department. He gives, and let's come back to the right track. Young lady, what is your name? Laila? Naina. Everybody give Naina a big hand, please. Naina on the right track. Naina, do you use your GPS? You do? What does GPS mean? Global Positioning Satellite. Right? Okay, I want you to listen carefully. You said keeping you on track. How does the GPS work? Keeps you on the right track. So how does it work? What do? You tell it where you want to go, right? You said, like when I was coming here today, I keyed in there and it says, go 2 kilometers and turn right. So if you're driving, Naina, and you go 2 kilometers and you turn left when it told you to turn right, what does the GPS do? What does it say? What does it say? No, what exactly does it say? How does it respond? It says, recalculating, very pleasantly, doesn't it? A nice voice says, recalculating. It never says, you dumbo, why are you turning left? I told you to turn right. It doesn't say that, does it? Then it tells you, okay, recalculate and go right and make a U-turn. You keep going straight. Does it say anything? It just says, recalculating. It will recalculate to infinity until you get where you want to go. It will never say to you, do you know where you want to go? Are you sure you want to go there? Do you want to change the address? That is the God Positioning Satellite. It doesn't tell you where to go. It just makes every effort to get you where you want to go. That is why God doesn't have a punishment department. Someone said to me, Panditji, why doesn't God, get rid of all the bad people in the world and let the good people live? He has the power to say, okay, no bad people allowed in this world anymore. No, he can't do that. He's given us free will to be what we want to be. And Sudama is now cleansed himself, bring himself to a state of purity. Tan man, dhan. The body, mind, and the wealth. Sudama has no wealth, materialistically. But what is his greatest wealth? Hamaro dhan Radha, Sri Radha, Sri Radha.
Hamaro dhan Radha, Shri Radha, Shri Radha. Hamaro dhan Radha, Shri Radha, Shri Radha.
Hamaro dhan Radha, Sri Radha, Sri Radha.
Hamaro dhan Radha, Shri Radha, Shri Radha.
Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Krishna Kanhaiya Lal Ki Jai. Tan, Man or Dhan. Sudama is going to the Lord, taking his intellect, his body and his wealth to meet God. Hamaru Dhan, Radha. What is our greatest wealth? God. He's taking his love for God to God. That is his greatest wealth. He's taking his intellect and his physical body and he says, my love for you I bring to you. You came, you didn't bring anything for me. What did you bring? My love. Wow. Simple. Like any love story today. Sudama's story is that love story. The katha is beautiful. Of course, time is already 2 minutes after 9. And Sudama is approached. We were told that when he was at the gate, the guards would not let him in because of his attire. And they said, you cannot enter here. It's royalty. But Sudama was with Rukmini. And here, not Sudama, Krishna Bhagwan was with his consort and having a great refreshing time. And then he heard the discussions at the gateway and he rose up and said, Sudam! He heard it because he was calling for Krishna. Tell him it's Krishna. Tell him Krishna is Sudama is here. And he yelled out and ran right away to the doorway and embraced Sudama and walked him in. Everyone thought Krishna was going crazy. What's wrong with this guy? He walked him and took him into the palace, sat him on the throne and proceeded to treat him with all of the high, Sabt Karod Upchar ka puja, washing his feet, doing all of the things. And everyone was looking, wow, what happened to Krishna today? Krishna was responding to what? Love of the devotee. We may not know it, but the Lord caresses us from time to time. Do you know when you know the Lord caresses you? Think carefully. You've been doing all these prayers. How do you know? Is he listening to me? Are you hearing me, God? Like sometimes you don't knock, knock. Are you there? When do we know or when do we feel that God is caressing us or responding to our prayers? When we win the lottery ticket that we prayed for? Or when we prayed for nothing and everything seems to be happening? Simply. We prayed for nothing but everything seems to be working out nicely. That is when God is caressing us. But if you're praying for something every day and we're not getting it, God is not caressing us at all. He's saying stop wanting and start loving. The more we love, the more we will have. The more we want, the less we will love. Krishna Kanhaiya Lal Ki. In summary of our katha tonight, Sudama represents unquestionable love to God. The story tells us when he gets there, Krishna treats him royally, give him everything and asks him to stay the night. Sudama did not ask Krishna for anything. He gave Krishna the few grains of rice and the Divine Mother was starting to eat one. She eat one mouthful, but before she can eat, Krishna started to eat one mouthful, but before he can eat another one, Lakshmi, Mata, took it away from him and says, no, 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 if you consume another mouthful, you will give them more, you will give them my kingdom too. You will give me away. Because when the Lord is pleased, everything belongs to you. As such, Sudama left the next day with the same clothing he came with. He didn't get a new suit of clothes and he was back on his journey. In his mind, the conscience was at work. You know, Krishna have everything. He knows what I want, but he didn't give me anything. Our conscience at work. But then as he was walking, he concluded, you know what? What was more important to me, and Krishna knew this, he says wealth and materialistic things will come between this friendship. And he said this friendship means more to me than him, than any wealth. So he didn't give me any and I didn't ask for any. When he came to that conclusion, he was committed to God. Committed to God totally, and all the wealth of the world, that is the artha we talked about. It belongs to every human being when we come to that conclusion that our relationship to God must not be built upon our possessions, but our love for God. And at that moment, Sanama goes up the hill, and when he looks down, the entire world is changed in front of him. Like I said earlier, if we pray sincerely, and we are not asking for anything, the world will unfold. And all things will unfold as we see them and want them to be. Krishna Kanhaiya Lal Ki. Let me take this opportunity to thank all of you and to thank our Shrotas and Panditji for this opportunity to be at this Mandir. And I want to compliment all of you who engaged with Panditji in making this Mandir a reality. There is a very large mandir not very far from here. And more mandirs we have, the more there's a need. Our community is growing in leaps and bounds, and our young people need a place where they can go and they can inculcate the knowledge. Going to mandir is not only for darshan, it is for siksha. We don't go to mandir to get blessings. We go to the mandir for blessings and for teaching. And I'm sure with our learned Pandit here, doing the wonderful job that he's doing, that everyone who comes here will receive something that they can take away. Today you're taking away two types of prasad. It's called the manka prasad and the tanka prasad. The body prasad is a food that is prepared, and I'm looking forward to the meal, and like you. And then the manka prasad is the message you receive here today. The body prasad will last for 24 hours, but the mind prasad hopefully will last for a long time. May God bless all of you. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Prem Sri Vyas Bhagwan ki jai. Devotees, let us put our hands together once again for our humble appreciation and love for dear Vyasji once again, leaving his family, his loved ones, his temple, and continue to relentlessly serve us. Babaji, once again, thank you so much for you and Mataji and your family, your dear daughter, and Gandharvas from Sri Ram Mandir to be with us. We are thankful, we are blessed to have you, to give your blessing to this part of pilgrimage for all of us in Maha Lakshmi Narayan Mandir. We pray and ask that Bhagavan Ganesha, Saraswati Ma continue to bless you, give you the health and strength that you need to continue to propagate this dharma along with the members and devotees of Ram Mandir. Thank you so much, dear devotees. I won't keep you much longer, but what a wonderful presentation Baba has given to us about our relationship with God. Choose which one, see where you are, which category you may fall under, and work your way to that divine relationship as Sudama and Krishna had. Dear devotees, it's a very important katha for us to listen to Bhagavad, to tweak, to adjust, and to bring ourselves closer in our seva, in our service to God, to our parents, to our guru, to our elderly, to our community. Adjust and align ourselves. And let this Bhagwat Katha, the 5th session, do miracles in our world. Listening and listening is one thing, but when we can able to inculcate this in our life, tweak a thing or two, it will serve big and greater purpose. Once again, Baba, thank you so much for your love and your support and for honoring our invitation. Dear devotees, please remember, we continue tomorrow evening. We conclude on Janamashtami, the 6th. And of course, soon after, we have Ganesh Chaturthi, the 18th to the 27th, Puja and Abhishekam to Ganesh Baba of evening. We have Pitrapak Satsang from the 29th to the 1st, 3 nights of Garud Puran reading, and soon after Navaratri, the 15th to the 23rd. Please remember to join us every Sunday morning, our Monday Puja, Tuesday, and of course our Friday Devi Puja will commence soon after this Yagya. Please join us to support Dharma, and in support Dharma, Dharma will support us. Pitaji Hemant and Jinal and to all his siblings who are visiting with us, we thank you for your love, your support, to join with him and to support Dharma from what your divine and late father would have built that platform. He's continuing it, and he is so happy to have you with him to traverse this journey in Bhagavad Yagya. Once again, thank you to each and every one of you, and please join us for satsang tomorrow once again as we continue. Let us kindly.
Babaji, if I may take the opportunity to invite your devotees. Ganesh Chaturthi, I know you're celebrating. I do not know where you're doing the immersion or not, but the Hindu Federation is doing immersion of Ganesh Murti on the 23rd at Lake Ontario in Pickering. And all devotees, if you do not have a program on that day, are invited to join with us. All of the mandirs, there are buses being chartered from here to take the devotees. So if your mandir is interested in joining, then we can arrange for a bus to come here. The bus has 40 capacity or 43 capacity on the 23rd of September. That's from 10 a.m. to 2, and it will be right on the lake, a beautiful area. We do this every year, whereby you bring your own murti from this mandir, a biodegradable murti, of course, and that murti will be doing puja, there'll be bhajan, kirtanam, and of course, then the immersion in the ocean, the lake itself. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your invitation, Baba. I know that was coming, I thought you forget. Or maybe I'll hear it at the end. Thank you so much for your invitation. Dear devotees, once again, thank you. And please mark that date as well. And let us kindly stand for Aarti. as we conclude tonight's session, our Gandharvas and Baba will lead us in Aarti.
Jai 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 Bhagwati.
Jai 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 Bhagwatam. Jai Jai Jai
My thanks. Jai Jai Bhagwatam.
Jai Bhagwat भगवान की है आरती। पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
जय भागवत
भगवान की है आरती। पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
ये अमर ग्रंथ ये मूर्ति पंथ ये पंचम वेद निराला नव ज्योति जगाने वाला। ये अमर ग्रंथ ये
मूर्ति पंथ ये पंचम वेद निराला नव ज्योति जगाने वाला।
हरि गान यही वरदान यही
हरि ज्ञान यही वरदान यही जग की मंगल की आरती। पापियों को पाप से तारती। जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती। पापियों को पाप से तारती।
ये
शांति गीत पावन पुनीत पापों को मिटाने वाला। हरि दर्श दिखाने वाला। ये शांति गीत पावन पुनीत पापों को मिटाने वाला। हरि दर्श दिखाने वाला। ये सुख करनी ये दुख हरनी। ये सुख करनी ये दुख हरनी। ये मधुसूदन की आरती। पापियों को पाप से है तारती। जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती। पापियों को पाप से है तारती।
ये मधुर
बोल जग बंद खोल सन्मार्ग ठिकाने वाला। बिगड़ी को बनाने वाला। ये मधुर बोल जग बंद खोल सन्मार्ग ठिकाने वाला। बिगड़ी को बनाने वाला। श्री राम यही
कन्हैया लाल की
रस आजोरो प्रार्थना करो आकी बंद करो ओम त्वमेव माताश्च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मा अमृतं गमय रसभाव ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वर गुरुर्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः हरि ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम तत्सह प्रेम से व्यास भगवान की जय वृंदावन विहारी लाल की जय महालक्ष्मी नारायण मंदिर की जय सत्य सनातन वैदिक धर्म की जय संतन की जय जय सीताराम take your seat.
Let me take this opportunity to thank all of you and ask you to give a round of applause to our Kirtan Mandali who has come from Maha Mandir. And the accompanying musicians on my immediate left, Pandit Dhruv on the Basuri, give him a big hand please. On Tabla, Pandit Gaurav, give him a big hand. And then we all have all of our musicians, these young ladies who have come very talented, and all of these wonderful, mature individuals who have joined this group today. We thank all of you for having us over. Om Shanti. Shanti.
Thank you once again, Baba. Dear devotees, please participate with your arti, bhojan, and of course, please return home safe and join us tomorrow evening once again as we continue to revel at the feet of Bhagavan Shri Radhe Shyam. Once again, thank you